Boop, boop. So if you run a business, you probably ask yourself this question at least once. Why can't people do their jobs?
I don't think that most business owners ask it in that tone. Why the fuck can't people do their jobs?
There you go. That's a better tone. I mean, you perceive or you believe that you hire good people, you train them, you pay them, and somehow everything still falls on you as the business owner.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Tough place to be. All the problems. Sales problems, staff problems, customer problems. Something as simple as, hey, there's no toilet paper in the toilet. Falls on you. You are the business owner. It's a problem.
You're the business owner.
Yeah.
Hardest thing in the world, building a team.
So today, Barry Mitchell and myself are going to be talking about just that. What if the problem isn't the team?
Problem's always a team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. As always, I am your host, Suli. And for those of you who've never seen our podcast before, the Uncovering Greatness podcast is for business owners, people building teams, running teams, running businesses. We're talking to business owners who have been in business for more than 5 years because they felt the pain of just that, building a business, running a team. They survived things like COVID, tax things, staff stealings. They've survived a lot and they are still here. So we want to talk to those business owners because we want to applaud them, because without them, I believe this economy would suck. How you doing, Barry?
Good on you.
Good.
What's happening to your microphone?
I don't know. It's when I start to speak intellectual things, this is what happens.
Is it broken?
No, it's not broken.
It just falls apart.
It's just not positioned properly. Because I'm always moving it around.
See what you have to deal with teams. Simply set up the friggin' podcast room. That answers your question.
Don't get the social media guy to set up the podcast room.
Never mind that's his job. But anyway, all falls on the business owner.
It is. Business owners should get me better equipment.
Dude, you chose this equipment.
This is the
5 month deliberation on what equipment to get.
You know what? That's so funny because I feel like that happens so much in business. The team would say something like that if the business owner only gave me better resources. I was like, but you chose the resources. What do you mean? How do you want better You chose this. That's crazy. So I wanted to start with, so what are the most common complaints you hear from business owners about their team? You work with businesses and business owners that team range from 20. You must hear a lot.
Yeah, and on a couple of thousand, and a couple of clients with a couple of thousand people. What was your question? What are the things I hear most?
Yeah, that the business owners say about their teams.
Well, I think one of the biggest questions I get is, how do you find good people?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is a question. Is how do you find good people?
So how do you find good people?
I think first step is you got to be clear on who you want.
Okay.
A lot of times when it comes to teams, the mistake I see people make is, especially as business owners and managers, you get busy and then you need to fill a hole. So what you do is you either fill a hole from outside because you need to get someone in to do something that you think you've done, but you're not 100% sure of what it is, but you bring in someone and then you're not really clear on what that role is. Or you, I don't know, take someone from within because they're a good person. They fit into the team and you push them into this hole to go do that job.
Yeah.
And so I think, how do you find good people? The very first step is to be clear on exactly who you're looking for and what they're going to be doing.
Okay.
So that's the first step. The second step is look for people that are going to fit into your organization. So look for people that are going to fit into your culture. Now, therein lies the problem. Most businesses are not clear on their culture.
Yeah.
They
What's the culture?
They have an idea of how they do things, but they haven't actually sat down and quantified it.
Yeah.
What are our behaviors? What are our values? What are the rules that we play by? How do we play the game? Who are we exactly? And who are we looking for who will fit into what we do? And, you know, I've dealt with hundreds of businesses over the year, and that's typically been the missing piece, is that they're running their businesses, they're doing what they're doing, they're moving, and they get to the stage where there's some form of chaos created. They've grown past where they're at. They've grown past what they need to be doing, and they're now running all over the place. And what they didn't do right in the beginning was get clarity around their culture. Who are they? How do they play the game? How do they behave? What type of people do they want in their business? You know, and that is critical. You know, you need like-minded people, but you need like attitude people. You need like behavior-driven type people. You know, people that, you know, if you're in a business and you're a pretty, let's just say your culture is you like to party. Well, you want to attract people that are going to fit into that culture. Otherwise you're going to create a disconnect all the time.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, you know, people just say, but I'm here to work. Well, yes, you're there to work, but you also got to fit in. It's like being on a sports team and not fitting in with the rest of the team.
Struggle.
How are you gonna play that game? You're gonna hate it, man.
Yeah.
And they're gonna hate you. So I think that's the first step, is how do you find good people? You get clarity on your culture, and then you get clarity on what type of people you want to fit into your culture. Once you've done that, then you start looking for the right people, and then you match the right people to the right skills and the right capacity.
So this is also my next question is an interesting one, because I feel like I've heard you say it. I've been in this business long enough to have heard it. You've run this business for long enough to have different people come in and out.
Maybe.
But why do you feel like so many business owners, including yourself, feel like they're carrying the business alone?
I thought you were going to say, why do you think that you always feel like an asshole?
That could tie into it, right? Because eventually you get frustrated. You're a human being.
Well, I think the primary thing is your business, and you have to carry it.
Okay.
It's my business. I started it. I'm responsible for it. I'm the one that grows it. You know, reality is you can all leave. I'll still be here.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it falls onto the business owner.
So do you feel like that frustration then is warranted or unwarranted, in terms of like the frustration of, I'm carrying this alone, I'm doing all this, I'm generating everything, I'm going through this? Like,
well, whether it's warranted or not warranted, Sully, it exists. The question is, why does it exist? Why do we get frustrated? Why do we end up perceiving that we carry everything? And that comes down to a myriad of things. You know, one, what are your processes and systems? Are you clear on processes and systems? What's your level of accountability? How long are you carrying people without holding them accountable to do the things that need to be do? You know, there's a big problem with many businesses. People hire people very quickly and fire them very slowly. you know, when you find that you have the wrong person, when you find that a person doesn't fit in, when you find that a person's not doing what they've agreed to do, move them on. And, you know, if there's a mistake I've made in the 30 plus years I've been in business, I've moved people on too slowly, you know, and, you know, I've moved people on too slowly, and at times I've hired people too fast. So I've given people opportunities, given people a job without I could have slowed down a lot more to make sure that they were the right person, to make sure that they're very clear on the terms and conditions, so that when they don't work out, that I can move them on fast. And I think that's a huge mistake that I see in many businesses. And then you get a feeling like, this person doesn't really fit in. But you know what? I'll keep them, because, you know, having them is better than having no one. What I've found is that, no, the problem is if you get a feeling, if they're not working out early on, they're going to create problems down the line. Not that they're bad people, and that's, I think, where we make a mistake. They're not bad people. They're just the wrong people. You don't want the wrong people in your business. The problem is the wrong people end up turning into bad people. And that's where we create conflict, confrontation, and all that sort of stuff. So take your time in hiring. Be clear on what type of person you want, how they fit into your organization, and what they're going to do. Get absolute clarity in terms of the steps and the deliverables, and get absolute clarity with yourself and with them on what it means for them to stay in the business and what it means for them to leave the business if they're not performing.
So in terms of that, right? So like when you're hiring a new person in, you just mentioned the word deliverables. So how important, especially with a new hire, is the deliverables? So would you like deliverables or results, right? If we're on the same page here.
Yeah. So your deliverables are well, it's twofold. You deliver certain things in order to achieve the result. So a salesperson, their activities and actions and their deliverables are go out every day, visit customers, make follow-ups, do all that sort of stuff, with the aim of achieving the result, which is close deals.
Okay. So then is that then would you consider that those behaviors, those actions that they've got to take to go and do this?
So the actions are the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But the behaviors are things like, well, if they agree to make 10 calls a day, are they going to honor the agreement?
Okay.
So if I say to someone, can you go out and knock on 10 doors? And they say, yes, I can. Well, I expect them to go do that. If they don't, well, then either they're lying, they're bullshitting, or they don't know how to do it, but they're not putting their hand up and saying they don't know how to do it. So what they did is they broke the behavior of honoring the agreement. They dishonored the agreement. Now, if they continue dishonoring their agreements with me, I'm not going to trust them. If I don't trust them, I can't have them in my business. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you create that in a very clear set of behaviors. In Blair Singer's book, Team Code of Honor up here, he outlines, and I've been implementing that in businesses for 20 plus years. He outlines the core fundamentals of building what we call context and creating a very clear context, very clear culture, very clear code of honor, very clear set of behaviors that people fit into. Then you hold them to the behavior. So we sit in a meeting and you'll have a number of deliverables that you have to deliver in a week.
Yes.
In our business, we call them to-dos. So you got to do those to-dos this week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we make an agreement around the table. We're going to get them done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The behavior is, do we honor our agreements with each other or not? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To deliver on those 12 to-dos.
Got you.
Okay. So, and so it's driving teams who are prepared to play by the same set of behaviors.
So do you see, in the businesses that you work in, do you see more of an emphasis on results or behaviors?
I think people focus way too much on results. So they manage results, and results are the end results. Imagine that results are the end thing. Results are the thing that comes out at the end. Once you've followed a process, once you've held yourself accountable to the actions and activities that need to be done, once you've delivered on your deliverables. So what I see or not nearly enough of is actually people managing the process and holding people accountable to the process. And within that process, holding people accountable to do the things that are needed to be done in that process.
Mm-hmm.
If they do that and they don't get the result, you can tweak it and change it. But if you're not managing that and they're not getting the result, and you're just managing result, you don't know what to change and you create problems. That's when you have people that go below the line, make excuses, justification. That's where things like jokingly, you didn't give me the right results, but that's what happens. Is if your processes are not clear, well, then you're going to come back and say, yeah, well, it wasn't my fault because I didn't have the stuff. But if we're very clear and we have clear behaviors, like when in doubt, pick up your hand and ask a question.
Yeah.
Well, then I can say to you, Suli, but why didn't you ask? Oh, I didn't think I could ask. Suli, right now you're taking responsibility. No, I'm blaming or I'm justifying. Okay, good. Well, is that how we play the game around here? No. Pretty quickly, I can see what type of person you're going to be. And I can see whether you're going to fit in. And the reality is, if I keep you around knowing that that's going to happen, and I don't manage you to change or give you the opportunity to change, or I don't let you go, well, that's what's going to create my frustration down the line. So the reality is who created that frustration? I did. And I'm going to end up picking up your slack. Why? Because at the end of the day, in my business, everyone can leave my business, but I'm not going to leave my business. I'm still going to be here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, biggest frustration is teams in businesses. My belief, the hardest thing to do in business is build a highly effective team. But when you do it, man, and you have the right people in the right seats, doing the right things, driving in the right way, man, you create unbelievable results.
So how do you do that? So like, I mean, because like if I look at it, right? So
how do you do that in business?
Yeah.
Oh, it's simple. You hire me and I'll come and help you.
That's
well, how do you do
why would you give that answer? Because now we're going to end the podcast now. what more do you want me to say?
well, simply, how do you do that? You focus on creating context first. Those of you that are watching this, go and have a look at a couple of the YouTube videos I've done around context.
Yeah,
around
the cup.
Around the cup.
It was like 3 episodes ago.
You got to build the cup first. So when I go into an organization, that's the first thing I start with it. I start with them. What are your values? First up, where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
Where's this business going in the next 10 years? What's the vision for the business? Because if you want to tie people into an organization, they have to be able to see brightness of future.
Okay, so what if I don't have that as a business owner?
Well, you need to get it, because if you don't have that as a business owner, how do you know where you go? Goodness me, then if you don't know why you're making the decisions today that you're making, where it's taking you, your decisions may tend to be a lot worse than that. You'll make worse decisions.
Okay.
So if you want to make better decisions, the first step is, Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. Know where you're going. So know where you're going for the next 10 years, 3 years, 1 year.
Yep.
So it creates clarity. When you bring people into your team, they can also see that this company's going somewhere. I mean, we have a 10-year plan. You know where we're going.
Yes.
You are very clear. There's no ambiguity. Everyone in my team knows where we're going.
We would hope.
So, well, they look at the boards on the wall. They can read. We've been through it. We've showed them at the interview.
I'm just saying. Can hope. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They know where we're going. Whether they believe we're going to get there or not, or whether they believe that's the individual.
Yeah.
But they know they're very clear where I'm going and where this business is going. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you sort of have that confidence that, okay, so this business owner not believes, but he knows that he's going to be around in the next 10 years. So
I could be a part of. Or I could be saying to you guys, okay, guys, so this is the game. We're going to build this business to X, Y, Z, and then I'm going to sell it.
Interesting.
Okay, so
weird you say that. I was thinking about it the other day, but yeah, I got you.
So then my plan is to sell it. Yeah. Find a buyer.
Yeah.
Now, when I sell it, if you help me get it to A, B, and C, and I can get this for it, this is what's in it for you. That does something
interesting. That's a big incentive.
But I'm very clear.
Yeah.
And note the word, if you help me get it to here.
Yes.
Not you're going to spend the next 5 years, and when I sell it, you selling your jack and you're giving me a whole lot of shit. And you complained about it every time you can't do anything. And I struggle to get you out of the business because, I don't know, you've taken me to CCMA. And then when I sell the business, well, now you make it my problem because you didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's fair exchange.
No.
So does that make sense? So
yes.
If I'm clear on that and I bring you in and I say, okay, Sui, this is where I'm going. In the next 5 years, I want to set this business up to do A, B, and C, to do 1, 2, and 3 in terms of turnover. And then I want to sell it and find an owner. If you help me do this and get it to this, here's what's in it for you. Are you good with that? In order to do that, this is what you have to do. How does that sound? Then you go from there. Or this is where we're going in the next 10 years. This is what we want to build. And in the next 15 years, this is where we want to build. I mean, you very clear. You should be very clear on where I'm going.
Yeah.
And what I want out of this business and where I'll be in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
And what that entails for you.
Yep.
But if you're not, well, that creates ambiguity. Why? Because it's like, what happens is when other opportunities come up and all those type of things. So one, create clarity in where you're going. It's not cast in stone. It's not cast in concrete.
For sure.
But it can change, it can shift. But at least when you're working through that, this is where we're going, guys. This is why we're doing what we're doing.
So it's sort of important to have that, like we have in our business, which is 1 year, 3 year, 10 year. So you, like you're saying, it's not cost. Like, so for example, we were looking at the end of 2020 the target.
Yeah.
And we tweaked some things a little bit because it was like, okay, wait, we're shifting this.
Yeah.
So that needs to shift. It doesn't exist anymore.
So our end goal is still the same.
Yes, end goal is still the same. And some things
do and how we do
it. Yes.
We used to sell motorbikes in our business.
Example.
We used to sell motorbikes and buckies and buses.
Yeah.
Well, we stopped when we did our strategic plan. We stopped selling motorbikes.
Yes.
And now we focus on high-end buses and buckies.
Yeah. Because that can happen.
But when we sit down, we're going, okay, well, now we're going to have to sell more high-end buses. But guess what? We're not moving thousands of lower-end motorbikes, which means we don't have to spend all that time repairing and because our end goal in terms of turnover, where we're going, what we want to do the business. But that business will tweak and change as you go along because business is fluid. Okay, so that's the first thing is know where you're going, begin with the end in mind, as Cody says. Second thing is create clarity in your culture. Right up front, biggest mistake I think most business owners make is we get in and we start taking action. Don't get me wrong, action is critical. Right in the beginning, you got to take action. But while you're taking action, get clarity around the culture in your business.
So do you think with it, like with cultures in business, do you think like the staff, the team mirrors the leader in terms of the culture?
Well, they can, or they can fight the leader.
Okay.
So it not necessarily mirrors the leader. I mean, I've hired people in the business that don't like how I operate. So they push back. I've hired people in our business that love how I operate. So they become part of it. But at the end of the day, I as the leader of the business, I'm responsible for driving the culture. Why? Because it's like in my house.
Mm-hmm.
In my house as the leader of my household, alongside my wife, we drive the culture in our house. What we do when we do we pray before meals? Do we sit down for dinner? All those type of things. We drive the culture in.
So it's a culture. Culture things.
Determining who we are, how we behave. When people come to visit, that's our culture. This is how we behave. If you don't like it, well, you're not going to come back. If you do, you're going to come back. Does it make sense?
Yeah, man.
And a business is the same.
I mean, I would see you guys do it and be like, go out to eat. Like if we're going to have breakfast or we're going to have lunch or something, you guys pray before. It catches me out sometimes because it's not part of my cultures and behaviors.
It's working.
Nah. But it sometimes catches me out because I'm already starting, I'm here. And it's like, I need to pray. I'm like, oh, God. But I never actually looked at it as a culture thing and as a behavior thing. And I feel like it's important to clarify the difference between like cultures, and culture.
So you have the cultures that we come from, which has some culture. But culture, I use the word context. Okay, rather than culture. The context that we create, the cup that we create holds all the content, holds all the stuff that we do. And the cup that we create is made from values, operational rules, how we do things. So praying before a meal would be an operational rule. That's how we do things. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Not swearing in our household, for example, would be an operational rule. Washing dishes before you go to bed is an operational rule. And then you have a set of behavioral rules, like we treat each other with respect. We speak to each other with love and kindness. We apologize when we don't do the things that we should have done, and that type of stuff. Now, that's exactly the same in a business. What are the behavior rules? We honor all agreements. We take responsibility. We drive accountability. We come to work with a high level of positive energy. That type of stuff. Then we have rituals. So rituals form part of context.
Cool.
And then our philosophy. What's our philosophy to business? Our philosophy to how we do things. Our philosophy to making money. Okay. Then we have mission and mission, vision, and purpose, which is the handle of the cup. So when the cup gets hot, we have a strong handle, and there's your mission and your purpose and your vision that makes your handle stronger. Then we have the content, the offices, all the stuff we do, the brand, the processes, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So when you get your context right, you create an environment where you have clarity in who we need to be while we're doing what we're doing. Because this process of when you want to have something, when you want to create a result, it comes from doing.
Mm-hmm.
And doing and the amount that we can do and how we do it comes from who we are being. So context is around who do we need to be in the business we're in.
Got you.
Okay, how do we need to behave? What's the mindset and the attitude we need to have? What's that? That allows us to do the things we were going to do in the way we want them done. Because reality is when it comes to a training business, for example, we train. The core context of a training business is you meet clients, you teach and train them, and there's a gazillion trainers in the world. But who I am being and who my team is being when we are training is very different to who other people are being and their behaviors and their expectations. So in business, and it's a big mistake I think we make, is we don't focus on the context part enough, and we focus way too much on the doing, and it's actually the being that stops us from the doing. The doing, I mean, I've been selling in the same way for 30 plus years. It's doing. I do it I do it at a higher level and all that sort of thing, but it's the same doing.
Yeah.
But it's my being and who I am and my level of responsibility and all that type of stuff that determines how I do it and the level that I do it at. Does that make sense? And that creates results. And that's the hard part of teams, and that's, there's
peanut butter.
Yeah.
You sold too many.
I sold too many of my peanut butter books.
So many. Somebody even took my display board.
Sure. That in that book, that's all about, it on the cover, it says, it's sometimes businesses like growing through peanut butter, because building a team can be very sticky.
Yes.
And that's what that book is about. It's a very simple story about what I do in a business with a business owner to help them unstick themselves and build a high championship performing team that can create results. They know what they do. I don't go in and tell them to do stuff differently.
Got you.
They know what they do. What I do is go into their business and help them be who they need to be to create the results they want.
So for you, you're going to a business exactly like you say, who they need to be. So like, what is the first behavior shift or change that the leader needs to make?
Oh, I don't know. It all depends on where the leader sits, Sunny. It depends, it depends on what type of leadership style the business owner has or the leader has. Because that's a very wide.
So in your experience of stuff so it's in what you've done with certain, like when you went into certain businesses, you don't have to name them, but like certain, what is like one of the first changes you make or first?
I think in order to create change, the very first thing is that it has to be led from the business owner. If the business owner is not vested in the process, then it's not going to work. And I see that a lot in business. I see it a lot with managers. No, I don't need the training, but my team needs to be trained. No, I don't need to come on this, but you fix my team.
Yeah.
No, the reality is the fish rots from the head. So in any organization, it's got to be driven right from the top in order to create changes.
So you got to get the first behavior changes. You got to get
the
buy-in from the leader.
Well, the leader's got to drive the behavior change, and the leader's got to be the behavior change, and the leader's got to exemplify the behavior change. Because if you're demanding your team do certain things and the leader's not doing it, well, it's not going to run. So I will never put in a code of honor in a business unless the leader's fully vested into it, and I'm wasting my time. Because you get a team that gets all excited about the behaviors, and then you get a leader that goes, "This is bullshit.
This is too much. This is work. What do you do?"
Well, yeah, but just that's not what I wanted, and this is not how it thinks, and you create conflict. So when you're building context, it's got to be built from the top. and then you get the team to buy into it. But it must come from the top.
So, what are some things like that you feel, like, because I feel like you deal with business owners, you deal with a lot of high level business owners, guys who are driving big businesses, guys and girls, sorry. But what are some of like the uncomfortable things that they need to hear from you as somebody who goes into businesses and does what you do?
Well, I think there's lots of uncomfortable things that we got to hear. So I think, discomfort is about being honest with yourself. And right up front, I can't pinpoint, but what I will say is that right up front in any form of leadership, what's your level of honesty? What's your level of truth with yourself? What's your level of being able to? What's your level of teachability? What's your level of open-mindedness? People talk about being very open-minded until you challenge them with something, or until you ask them some questions, and then suddenly they're not that open-minded. But it's that ability to change. It's the ability to shift. It's the ability to acknowledge that you're the problem. In my business, everything rises and falls in leadership. In any business, everything rises and falls in leadership.
Interesting.
And in my business, I know if this business is not working, well, it comes from me. I may not be the one that's not doing the work, or not being accountable, or not being responsible. Or, I might be doing everything that I should be doing in my position. But if you're not doing what you should be doing, well, I'm the leader of the business. Well, how am I allowing that to happen? If your team that you're leading is not doing what they should be doing, and I'm not helping you improve that, well, it all ends up with me.
Okay.
Look, it's very, very simple. Take it into a micro scale. Go into a household.
Yeah.
If your family is dysfunctional, well, it starts with the leader.
Yeah, all the time.
It's very simple. It starts with whoever's leading that household. In a typical and I will say the functional household, it should be the father. Okay.
Yep.
It should be the father connected with the mother to set a set of rules to drive the kids. So we create a functioning household. If it's not functioning, well, it's the leader that's the problem. So that you got to change from leadership. Now take that into the business. It's exactly the same. Now take it into the country. Well, when we have a dysfunctional, flippant country, what's the deal?
It's sucking leadership.
It comes from leadership. Everything rises and falls with leadership.
Tough one.
Because if I'm the business owner and I am insisting that everyone comes on time, but I'm always late.
Yeah, eventually I'm just gonna get frustrated. There's gonna be chaos.
He doesn't do it, so why do I have to?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. That's a very simple example, but that's what happens. If I'm jumping up and down and saying, why can't you guys do your stuff on time, and how come you can't finish, and I'm not doing it, okay, and my excuse is I'm very busy and I'm traveling so much and I can't deliver on this, and the reason I can't deliver is because you guys aren't doing what you're doing. Well, I'm not leading. Why aren't I stopping, setting up processes for myself, holding people accountable so that they can deliver? Because then I end up playing the blame game. If I end up playing the blame game, guess what you're going to play?
The blame game.
You're going to play the blame game.
Well, that's what I've been taught.
Well, that's what you've observed from the leader.
Yeah.
So for me to change that, I've got to change how I lead. Now, maybe I don't play the blame game. Well, then I need to keep sticking to that so that there is no finger pointing. Or when I do, I allow my team to say, hey, why are you blaming? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what is to create this environment? A wonderful saying I learned from one of my environment is greater than will. So create the environment. When you're creating a negative environment, people will generally succumb to the negative and the positive environment. The right people will succumb to the positive environment, and the wrong people will lead, and so on and so on.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like you see that environment is great. 2 people, 5 people, 100 people. If the environment is created incorrectly, or so it's a negative environment, you feel that. So there's a specific store that I can tell that from a leadership level, it's been created by them, where nobody it's a store, but nobody cares. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the urgency of doing things,
It's coming from management.
100%, because I see how I see how the managers operate, right? They sit in their little glass office, very closed off,
Yeah.
and that's it. And now that when you said that, I was like, man, I never actually looked at it like that. I was like, I was always
And
blaming
then that
them.
manager will come out and shit all over the staff for not doing what they should be doing.
Yeah. And it's like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's why. And I always leave that store upset. And I'm like, why am I walk in here feeling so good, but I feel upset because that's the energy that the store provides. And that's very
I'll
interesting.
give you an example of this. I had a client a number of years ago who, when I first started working with him, the MD of the business was very sharp in business, very good at what he did, but had very little connection with the people in his business. He used to arrive, walk up to his office, close his door, and work. And when people came, they had to knock on his door, and if he was busy, he was grumpy. And yeah, what do you want? And it was just, it wasn't that that's who he was, but it was who he was. He was quite an introvert, quite shy in terms of expressing himself to people. And then sometimes what used to happen was he would get frustrated and lose his shit. So when I first started working with him, one of the things that I suggested to him is when you come in the morning, enter through your factory,
Okay.
and walk all the way through the factory and greet every single person in the factory and say, good morning, how you doing? Good morning, how you doing? Nice to see you. And over a period of time, start getting to know everyone in the factory. Okay, do that every single day. Well, it was very hard for him to do. And it was very hard for the staff because they were like, oh shit, we never see him. Why is he suddenly coming down here?
Yeah.
And he had to change the environment and he had to rebuild the culture. You know, within a period of time, 6 months to a year, his level of connectivity with his team went way up. And over time, he could connect with anyone in the business. His door was open. He'll go downstairs. Sure, he still used to lose his shit now and again, but that's what happens and that's life. But his ability to connect and his team's ability to connect with him dramatically changed. But it had to come from him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He had to lead that change. And then be very deliberate and conscious in making it happen.
Yeah.
And that's leadership.
It's like he had to look at himself and go, when you were giving the advice or the feedback, he had to look at himself and go, cool, is this feedback I want to take type of thing?
100%.
Do I want to go with this? And
then make the decision to act.
Yeah. And this is something I actually heard. Can't remember where I heard it. And somebody basically said, as a leader, you need to look at yourself and ask yourself, are you somebody that would follow you?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I was like, man, that's actually, I don't think a lot of people do that introspection.
Well, would you follow you? And it's an interesting statement. Would the right person follow you?
What do you mean?
Well, there's some people that wouldn't follow me.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't want them to follow me.
Yeah.
Because they won't fit into my team.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you're asking that question, ask yourself, would the right me, who's that me that would follow me? Who's the person that I would want around me to follow me? And am I that example that person would follow? If that makes sense.
No, it does.
It's because I don't want the wrong people that don't fit into my organization or to complain that I can't work with you, I don't like you, or they don't fit in. So I'm not going to change me for them. What I need to do is attract the right people so that I can be the me that's going to create the results that I want to create.
Got you.
Make sense?
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, teams. Hardest thing to do in business. Good luck, but it's worth it if you can get it right. And if you want some help, hook us up. I'd love to chat to you about how we can help you in your business and help you, really build the right environment, right people, right levels of communication processes so that you can take your business from wherever it's at. Whether it sucks at the moment, whether it's pretty good at the moment, whether it's really good and you want to get it to great, wherever you're at, if you have a business, you have a team, and you know that there's a lot more that you can deliver on, and you have much bigger dreams for your business and for the people in your business. And give us a shout. We'll jump on a call, see how we can help you.
So we're gonna have 2 call to actions in one video. Call to action number 1, I will put all the details in the description. Call to action number 2, if you want real business, education, teaching, insights just like this that you can apply in your business today. Hit the subscribe button. We're sitting at 94% of you like not subscribing. You guys are watching the content but not subscribing. Please subscribe. You subscribe. Gives us a couple of milestones, gives us things that we can achieve, and it allows us to do this so we can reach more people, so we can help more businesses. The more businesses we help, the more we grow the economy. The more we grow the economy,
It's good for Sully's ego. Come on. Press subscribe.
good for my ego. I don't have an ego anymore. We'll see you guys next week.